Happy Sunday. I apologize that the video is dark, but I haven't managed to get out and sort out the time to get this recorded earlier in the day, and now the sun's going down at 4:23 in the PM. Had to duck and dodge even to get this little bit of time around my research commitments. Okay, so easy does it is what I came up with for this one. And I was listening to one of Elliot Holt's videos, and so I got this idea from him. You know, I don't like to steal stuff. I didn't get the whole idea from him, but I heard something that he said in this video that resonated with me, so I figured I'd bring it up. And what he brought up was the fact that most people fail at their goals because they go so hard in the beginning, like they're just like, you know, going for it, you know. And I've been that guy, you know, just to use an analogy of mine, or not an analogy, a real life experience. Weight loss, you know, I've a couple times in my life, you know, I've, you know, just I went on like these crazy diets and I lost all this weight and I had this huge amount of success. You know, some weeks I'm losing 4 pounds, 5 pounds a week, and I get all this weight off. I look great, I feel great, I'm walking around, I'm feeling it, and then next thing you know, I'm putting weight back on and I'm up again, because I didn't take the time to actually craft long-term life habits. I did these things, I did these crash diets that were I was having to live a lifestyle that wasn't natural to me. I'm not gonna say it was unbearable. I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy it. I would probably just say that it didn't work for me, especially with the way that things changed. See, this is the reason why I want to get out of Washington, but you know, that's another video. When the seasons change, and like now it's getting dark early. Well, in the summer it gets dark late. In the summer, I don't have the appetite that I have, you know, that I have in the winter time. You know, and I tend to eat later on in the day, which in the wintertime I usually don't eat after 6. It's easy not to eat after 6. It's already dark, I'm already getting tired, you know, blah blah blah, you know, and so I'm just finished for the day eating at 6, and it's easy. In summer it's just difficult. I usually eat more, I'm usually out on the boat, I'm usually hitting restaurants and different things like that. So, you know, I have this big life change. And so now, like what I'm trying to bring up about the video, finally, after going on my little, you know, story about my, you know, bad habits, I've adopted this whole reality of let's do little bitty things. Let's not try and like go in this huge weight deficit with this crazy radical approach. Let's do little things. Let's do little tidbits here and there where, you know, we, you know, eat a certain way, or maybe have a certain diet structure this way and tweak it here and there and check things out, but try and live within a, you know, a grasp of what is, you know, normal, what is easy, what kind of works all times of the year as far as a overall, you know, caloric intake. You know, it's not easy, because like I said, the big one is the fact that I like to finish eating earlier in the day in the winter time, and I like to finish eating later in the day in the summertime. That's difficult, but I'm just using this as my example. Eating may not be your thing. Your thing may be studying. Your thing may be research. Your thing may be spending time with other people, trying to change habits. And that's what we're talking about. Little bitty things, little bitty changes, not these crazy drastic changes in your habits, are what are going to get you to a sustainable lifestyle. It's never going to be these radical approaches. And don't get me wrong, I believe in radical action. I believe in radical action like crazy. But I also think that, you know, the radical action should be something like, you know, clicking on that radical action mindset to you know, begin to program yourself for these different mini habits and these mini goals that are so bite-sized and so small that they're not soaking up your willpower reserves, you know, per day. Because that's another thing too, you know, the willpower that it took for me to do these crazy diets, it zapped me. And so you have no choice but to fail sooner or later. I mean, this isn't just me. This is many people that are up and down like this in their weight. You know, many millions probably. I don't know. You know, I'm sure thousands easy of people that are, you know, like up and down in weight, up and down in weight, because, you know, after a while they just totally like exert themselves as far as their willpower is concerned, and they start binge eating. And that's the same thing with, you know, if you go radical crazy, freaking out, going all nuts, doing all this extra stuff and making all these big changes, and it's not something that you slowly like craft a plan and, you know, oh, maybe you don't do it every day, but you do it, you know, your goal may be to do it for a couple hours a day, but okay, I'm just gonna start with 10 minutes a day and I'll work from there. It's the same thing as, you know, when I was running 16 laps a few years ago. Everyone was like, how the heck are you running 16 laps around the track? That's so many miles. And I'm sitting there explaining to him, man, it's not that much work. It's not. The only thing is I started out doing like 3 laps. And then, you know, sometimes I added like a lap a week. Sometimes I added, you know, a couple laps. It just depended on, you know, how I felt, the weight I was at, different things like that. But eventually I worked myself up to being able to do 16 laps. There was a time where I was doing 20 laps around the track. And I wasn't a small guy either. It was like a little, you know, like, you know, it was like a little jog. You know, it wasn't like me, you know, going nuts, you know, full stride, but it was a lot of running. It was a lot of cardio. And I was doing it in my Vibrams and everything. I was in pretty decent shape. But, you know, that's the thing. I got to that level. You know, I stopped doing it, but, you know, that for other reasons, for health reasons. But the thing is that if I would have just started doing 16 laps day one, I would have not been able to sustain that volume of running for as long as I did. And as I said, I got derailed from that volume of running for pretty much running for quite a bit of time because I suffered a groin injury. So, and I already had a groin problem with my back, and then I irritated my groin like heavily, and I couldn't run at all. I've been running my whole life. It makes me miserable not to be able to run. It's terrible. It's just something I've always done. I've always been a runner, like since I was a kid. I started running in like the 3rd grade, and I always ran, always. But yeah, many habits, you know, jump on that, chew on that, you know, throw it in the garbage can. I really don't care what you do with it, but that was my idea for today. And I got it from Elliot Hulse. Check him out. Again, if you go wild and you go crazy and you start doing all this stuff, I'm telling you, I could talk about other things too, but, you know, I don't want to go off the wall like I did on the whole weight thing again. But, you know, that weight thing, I had to explain it to you. I gained the weight back twice. Worked my butt off, you know, science, writing everything down, macros, everything, you know, super huge calorie deficit, put all the weight right back on a couple times because it wasn't a sustainable lifestyle. You know, make the changes in your life that are sustainable. Little ones, bitty ones, bite-sized pieces. My mentor is always saying, you know, how do you eat an elephant? You cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Happy Sunday.